Hello, peoples. It's time. This is Tempest Tenebrarum, home of all things World of Darkness. We're here every other Tuesday sitting around bullshitting about what we love. This is what we love. So, tonight's show is going to be about the Clan novels. I've been waiting for this one. I've had a hard on for this show since we, started 3 years ago. Oh my goodness. Because it covers every single how should I put this? Every single canon character in the world of darkness. Vampire. Vampire. And we're not even talking about Samuel Hake. Fuck him. I got no sense of humor about that motherfucker. Okay? So, what we're going to do tonight is we have three folks coming in. It looks like we've got a couple of extras that haven't shown up yet, but two knowledgeable, two less than knowledgeable, I guess. And we love, you know, teaching our guests, how about all these wonderful things that we love. We truly love. So tonight, we're gonna go ahead and go. We have. Hold on. Let me see if we've had more folks show up. Not yet. Damn. Where the hell are the rest of our freaking guests, man? Holy shit. So I'm gonna go ahead. Thomas is here, and we're gonna have. Um, let's see. Hold on. John Barnhouse. He'll be a new guest as soon as he shows up. And Kide Miyamoto, he will be with us too. And of course, Thomas Osborn. Say hi, Thomas.
Hi, Thomas.
Exactly. And of course, my co host, Brother Eric. And I'm going to keep saying Brother Eric, or just because that pisses them off. No, it's creepy. How dare they call each other brother? Well, fuck you, bitch. I ain't got no sense of humor about your ass. So, um,
Well, I
Brother
got to
Eric.
about my ass. My ass is huge.
I know, right?
Dude.
So,
Yeah,
Thomas, you're not as familiar with the clan novels as we are, right?
That is correct. I have unfortunately not had the pleasure of reading them yet.
Okay, so Eric is not going to be able to
well,
ask you a question
there's 13 clan novels.
or four if you count the big ass books.
That's what you need to know is that there's 13 of them.
Or
And they,
four
I
if you
do
get the
know that
big
there's
ass books.
13, and I know the order in which they happen. Well, the order in which
Well,
clan
no,
gets
no,
which
the,
novel at
the
what time.
no. To be
if
honest,
you look on the back of the book, it says 1, 2, 3, and it tells you the order that
yes,
they're
there are 13 of the original novels, but they went back and went to the four big
Yep.
books who put everything in chronological order. The Fall of Atlanta, Eye of Gehenna. Jesus, I can't remember the other two. It's really gonna irritate the shit out of me
they
until this.
reordered them too.
Yes, they did. They
Oh,
went back
that's
and put them
funny.
all in chronological order in big ass books, and I do mean big ass books. We're talking Dune size books.
My God, yeah.
It's the number 3 is Bloody September. Number
Bloody.
4 is End Games.
Thank you. So yeah, they actually went back and reorganized them in chronological order, because trust me, the Malkavian book is really hard to read because it's written in Malkavian.
That's what's great about it. It's
Yeah, well, I don't know that that's the case. It was the hardest of the novels because I still own all 13 of the originals,
yeah.
and I own all four of the chronological ones. And when you go back and look, I read in the Fall of Atlanta, the Eye of Gehenna, the Bloody September, and Endgame. is that it's so much easier to read. It truly is. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start chronologically. All right. The attack on the High Gallery. Okay. The J. Benison Hodges and all the craziest bullshit that that Victoria Ashe could drum up, and she did. She set this shit up, even though she wasn't realizing that she was setting this shit up for the attack on the Atlanta hierarchy. She didn't realize that she was working for, technically speaking, working for Sasha Vikos and her attack on the High Gallery. And then now we have an Archon, Julius. We've got all the major vampires from Atlanta, the Malkavian prince, his wife, the Ventru. Where did fucking Eric go?
It looks like he may have dropped out, possibly due to connection issues.
Okay, well then I'm gonna keep talking.
Keep going.
And then we had his Ventru wife. We have his, his Ventru wife's progeny, who he had major issues with because he went anarch during, prior to the attack on the gallery. And then we have a major drug bust thing going on, and I'm only using that as a for instance. We're talking about Hesher-Rahadze's progeny and the Eye of Gehenna, or the Eye of Hazamel, that was handed off during that party that just went fucking sideways. And then, we've got Hesher-Rahadze's progeny, and then all of a sudden he loses track of the eye because he gets killed. During that, he jumps out of a friggin' window or gets pushed out a window during that attack, and then he doesn't survive it. And it's not he didn't survive the drop, he didn't survive the integration of the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, some random Toreador, quote unquote, and it wasn't a Toreador, just saying, we'll get to that in a bit, is that some random Toreador picked up the eye and was able to bugger off with it. And then now we have, Jesus Christ, we've got elders of 5 of the 6 major, or of the 7 major clans of the Tremere, or Camarilla, involved in this horrific, and it is horrific, attack. Because the first thing that happens is they kill all the ghouls and so on in the parking deck below the High Gallery. And then all of a sudden, they come up the elevator with the war ghouls and all the other crazy ass bullshit that the Sabbat love to throw at whatever they're trying to do. Now you have to remember that this was their first major attack on the Camarilla in the New World. This was, and was instigated by, can you tell me?
I'm guessing from what you were saying, the major Sabbat attack was instigated by Sasha Vikos.
No, she was the Archbishop of Miami, and she was the one who actually instigated the attack on the High Gallery. But the major attack wasn't on Atlanta. It was Cardinal Luis Ambrosio Moncada. That was his attack on the New World. He was the one who sent Sasha Vikos to do this. And of course, there were the other two major archbishops at the time, Borges and what's the other What's the other name, dude? Come on, not you. I'm talking to the folks in the channel. Come on, y'all, help a brother out. Because we had Sasha Vikos, we had Borges, and then we had the third archbishop who was involved in this whole sweep up the eastern seaboard, which is what we're going to get to here eventually. But this was, like I said, this story was the lead. And it was one story. It was the lead up to Gehenna. It was the holy shit. Things just went pear shaped.
I mean, the Week of Nightmares?
It started with the Week of Nightmares.
Okay.
The red star and
Mm-hmm.
the whole. But no, that was the lead up to this whole situation. And then it started with the attack on the High Gallery and the burning of the Tremere Chantry in Atlanta, which I have issues with because chantries are supposed to be fireproof.
Well, are they Baal fireproof?
That's what they were all fireproof. You have to remember, my clan is specifically about knowledge, what we can collect. And at that time period, this was before, the major advent of the net, except for TrekNet, which we'll get to eventually, because this is how the Nosferatu found out that this craziness was marching its way up the seaboard at them. The whole, because our whole, as far as the Camarilla was concerned, our whole cluster was in New York. Okay, we had all of that craziness marching its way up the seaboard, and everybody was going, holy shit, what do we do now? Including the Nosferatu. And they're the ones who knew about it before anybody else did, including my clan. But basically, chantries were fireproof since, say it with me, the Great Burning. As soon as shit went sideways during the Inquisition, the First Inquisition, we made our chantries fireproof for that reason alone. So, one of the first things it was the second thing that happened after the attack on the High Gallery, was they burnt the chantry in Atlanta. Burnt. I played the lead up for this in a LARP,
Mm-hmm.
because it happened right around Fat Tuesday, as far as the whole Mardi Gras thing.
Yeah.
I met the guy who played Jay Bennison Hodges, that's who we're getting ready to talk about, is the Malkavian Prince of Atlanta. And I played that game, and what we found out is that Archons just don't pass through. That was what I was trying to get them to understand, is that yes, we do, but if the shit goes sideways while we're there, we're not going to just turn around and not, deal with that situation. So who's the all right? Yeah. Yes, we're gonna get to those. New Wave. There was the triple threats as far as the different books after the actual clan novels. We had like I mentioned earlier, my favorite clan, of course, Widows Weep, Widows Walk, Widows. What's the third one? Anyway,
Um,
that's the Tremere one.
yeah,
There were
The Clan Tremere trilogy.
yeah.
Widow's Walk, Willow's Weeds, Widow's Might.
Thank you. And then we had all the other triples for the Bruja, the La Sombra,
Hmm.
the Gangrel. What were the other ones? We didn't get
According to the
all of them.
wiki,
Huh?
according to the wiki, it was just the three: Tremere, Lasombra, Bruja.
Okay, so I did get them all. Okay,
You
great.
did?
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. I'm not as stoned as I thought I was.
Nope. I'm wiki jumping while you're talking to fact
Okay,
check and come up with questions.
so yeah, so where we're at now is that we had the attack on the High Gallery. We lost the Eye of Hazamal. It went wandering. Okay?
Mm.
And then Victoria Ashe is the only person or creature, whatever,
The only kindred.
who the only kindred who survived who supposedly survived the attack on the High Gallery. Archon Julius and J. Benison Hodges slipped off into the madness that was the Madness Network that got them away from that. And then all of a sudden, J. Benison Hodges turned on Julius and diablerized his ass. And so, but he's never heard from again after that. So we don't know whether if and I suspect what happened was Jay Benison Hodges actually just slipped off into the Madness Network. He lost his corporeal form and became part of Malkav, basically.
Great.
Everybody else during that attack dies, man. And
I know
then
there's also the summer solstice party, but that comes later, right? Because
yes, it
other people
does.
survive
Yes, it
that
does.
one.
No, it does. That was later on in Boston, I want to say.
I
And
think
that
so.
was it was Victoria Ash's second attempt at ganking a princeship out of this situation.
I'll
But
give it to her. At least she has goals.
yeah, I know that was the thing with her, is she really kept reaching above her station, and that seems to be the standard operating procedure for Tremere or Toreador. Okay, but
Oh, Freudian slip there.
yeah, I know, right? So, no, but what happened after the attack on the High Gallery is she was captured and she was handed off to one of the Semiche bone crafters. And she was taken to the switching yard in Atlanta and was handed up. I can't remember the Semiche um, that crazy bugger, and then so what happens was she was handed off to this Joker, and he started manipulating her into what is it, chemistry,
No, that's vicissitude.
vicissitude. Thank you. So she was handed off to this Joker, and he started manipulating her. Now enters my favorite dude, and I'll be honest, he's my favorite dude from the entire series, Hesha Rihadze. Hesha sent his dudes south, looking for the eye and his child.
Yeah, because his child of Vigil went missing,
Oh,
if I
Vegel,
remember
yeah,
correctly.
yeah, yeah.
Vigil.
It went missing after getting thrown out the fucking window at the High Gallery. Shit
Hmm.
went sideways there, and so Vegel, so yeah, my girl, I love her. Yeah, that's it. Follows the set, represent. I love them. I do. I'm Tremere at heart. You people know this, but as far as out of clan love, Hesh is my man. I love him. I love him to death. So when he lost track of the eye, it got handed off to this random dude who just happened to be at the
Uh,
party but got away.
right. I think we can. He's in the Toreador clan novel. His name's Leopold, and he is a sad, lonely
But
Toreador.
he's not a Toreador.
At this point in the story, he's a Toreador.
Yeah, he is.
Um, a sculptor who doesn't know his sire and thinks it's Victoria Ashe, who is his muse. And
Mm-hmm.
poor Leopold is all I'm gonna
Poor
say from
fucking
there.
Leopold. Fuck
Poor
Leopold.
Leopold. Hey, he's a victim of
No,
circumstance.
he isn't. He's a fucking anti-tribute Tremere, and I don't have no sense of humor about it.
He didn't know. He didn't ask to be sired. He didn't. I mean, he may have technically done the action to gain the Eye of Hazamel, which he does do,
He
and then
does, but it
becomes.
wasn't his fault. That
See,
it
none
was
of this
not
is
his
his
fault.
fault.
That was
We know
not
who's
his
to
fault.
blame.
I feel you, dude. That was not his fault.
Yeah.
It just happened. Listen, it's the eye of an antediluvian, for God's sakes.
Yeah. No, you're not gonna.
If the
You don't.
eye alone can, and we're going to get to that here in a bit, is that if the eye alone can wield this much power, he don't
Imagine
have
what.
no chance in hell.
Oh God, no. I mean, Hazamel himself is so powerful and scary, and his eye is wicked.
But it's not Hazamel. It's Zarathustra. We find that out later. But it's like, oh yeah, holy crap. No, listen, this eye alone is what caused the Gangrel to leave the Camarilla. Just the eye. And we'll get to that in a bit. Okay.
Yeah, that's a later clan novel.
No, yeah. Okay. So what Kide's coming shortly. Hang on, let me post it at him again. Shit.
And just as an alert, brother Eric, because if it's bothering people, I'll call him that too. Will not be returning tonight, but he wishes us all the best.
Thank you. Appreciate the effort for you. Good for lookout. And I told the brother before he left the show, or before we even went live, he's feeling bad. So we're gonna just do what we gotta do.
Yep, and happy thoughts for him and his health.
Absolutely. This guy's had a lot of trouble lately. Alright, so where are we at here? Fucking hell.
So we are currently in the Eye of Gehenna still, or are you talking?
No, we're still, we're there. I'm trying to get us, Kide's supposed to be joining us shortly.
Okay.
And, so,
Okay.
anyway, so we're still early on here. No, dude, we aren't even out of the first fucking book.
Oh, this is still the fall of Atlanta?
This is still the fall of Atlanta. We still haven't, no, listen, there's a lot of shit going on in that first attack. I mean, listen, the Bruja lost an Archon. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta lost every single member of the Camarilla who had any power in one fell swoop, which was the reason that it happened the way it happened. And Victoria Ashe was the reason all this shit went pear-shaped. Like I said, I have zero issue. I have major issues with the Toreador. Excuse me. I keep doing the whole Freudian slip thing. Because, like I said, I have issues with the Toreador. But Victoria Ashe she walks away from this relatively unscathed. Even when handed off to, what's his dude? The guy that starts manipulating her. Trying to turn her into a footstool or whatever the fuck he was trying to do.
That's very... That's very Shamasei. Like, I think we can all
It
agree to
is.
that.
It is. It's Shumasay to say the least. Kida, you with us? I see you, man. Kida. Hello. Hello, please. I know I shouldn't do that because that's like rude and shit.
Let's see.
No, he's in the channel. We're just not quite sure what's going on with him. Um,
According to her wiki, it actually doesn't name the random Shimizi she was given to. Just he left her a mark to remember him by.
yeah, he did, and it took her blood from elders to repair the damage that he did to her. You know, because
Hmm.
it requires a lot of blood to put yourself back to where you were after vicissitude. You know.
Well, yeah, it's trying to undo a discipline. That's like trying to heal from blood magic. It's going to take time and a lot of energy.
Hey
Okay.
guys!
Oh, there you are,
Hello.
Kide.
Sweet shit! I'm so sorry about that. It
Nah,
was
dude.
today of all fucking days.
So we're now just after the attack on the High Gallery.
Ooh, nice.
So we were trying to remember the guy who had mutilated Victoria Ashe in the railroad yard after the attack on the High Gallery. Do you remember who he was?
Oh, I know it was Tamichi,
Yeah, of
and he
course.
was one of the little Taylor of
No, it
Prague's
wasn't the little Taylor of
lackeys.
Prague. No, it was not him.
No, it was one of his lackeys.
Oh, okay. All right. Got you, man. Got you.
That's why it's not named. Yeah.
But I remember his name.
I'm sure there's a name in the book, but I can't find it on the wiki. So the fandom has declared it's not
He ain't worth
needed.
worried about, right? Okay. So, all right. So now we
I'm
have.
actually looking in the book.
Yeah, keep going. If you can get us the answer, that'd be great. Moving on. After the attack on the High Gallery, they rampaged up the East Coast and wiped out city after city. And most of the cities weren't mentioned except for mine, Raleigh, North Carolina. And it was because there are 5 major universities within the city limits of Raleigh. So you damn skippy. There was a Tremere presence in that city. Okay. And then we get to Baltimore.
I know New York's a setting too.
Yeah, but that's
That's by
after.
the end.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, yeah. The attack, the reclamation of New York is at the end of the Klan War because we had to go through X number of cities up the coast, and then all of a sudden we're in Baltimore, and then shit went sideways.
Yeah, because I remember they even took before Baltimore. I think they took D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Prince Vitalis he was like all sad and disappointed that
What was his
they had
name?
taken his
The Prince of D.C. who actually walked away from that.
Vitali.
Vitali, yeah. And he was like, "Holy shit! You need to give me the troops to reclaim my city." And you know, so we're talking about Theo Bell and all the other people who were on the War Council, and they're like, "No, we don't have time for your bullshit, dude. New York, we lost New York. Okay, we need to go take New York."
No, actually, by that point, New York was already a Sabbat city, and
Yeah,
Bologna was the archbishop for New York.
yeah,
So
that's what I'm
they.
saying. Is that
Mhm.
once he was like, "Well, you need to help me take my city back," and we were like, "Okay, no, we need New York back before we worry about your happy ass."
Well, I mean, with that warpath and the Sabbat coming from the south heading up north towards Canada, which they rule pretty well, I mean, they could have lost the entire East Coast and then the continental U.S. Camarilla sounds like they had like a bunch of fires on their hands.
Yeah,
No, you're right, man. They could not stomp them out fast enough.
that's because between New York and Miami, everything was Camarilla territory.
Became Cam. It became, but we lost. Like I said, we started with Atlanta. That was the first major attack. And
Hmm.
then everything other than that, north to what was it, Buffalo. We couldn't stomp the fires out fast enough. We just couldn't. We didn't have the troops,
And the
especially.
Sabbat are good at making shovel
Oh
heads.
no,
Hmm.
we just
They were
didn't.
really good at shovel heading.
We
Oh, it
just
fills
didn't
me with
have the
pride to hear
troops.
about this.
And so, yeah. So now we have a situation where we can't keep up with the attacks. So we need to make our own strongholds. And I think Buffalo was the first of those, and then Baltimore. And then all of a sudden, while they're in Buffalo or Baltimore licking their wounds, Javier shows up and goes, "Holy crap, this fucking thing just killed my entire clan."
I found the name, by the way.
What is it?
Elford.
Elford! Yes! 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 That's him! My
And
man!
also, I would like to correct, it's not Vitelli, it's Vital.
Oh, Vitel. Okay. But, yes, Elford. No, she comes back to fuck him over.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
dude.
was actually impressed. For like a quarter of a second, I considered rolling a Toreador because of how badass she was in that fight.
Uh-huh.
But then the Malkavian guy came to help her.
Yes. No,
But we're
that
getting
was,
way
you're right,
ahead.
you're right. That was where Bennett and Hodges shows back up again. But, no,
Right.
Elford, no, when she comes back to fuck Elford over, that was fun. No,
Yeah,
that was fun.
I enjoyed that whole
That whole
section.
scene.
Hell
Yes.
hath no
Oh,
fury like a Toreador scorn.
damn Skippy. Damn Skippy. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, but it was a long time between before that, like between that and the moment where Elford was torturing her. Like she
Mhm.
was deforming her, and I was under the impression that once a Tsumishi uses vicissitude to fuck you up, it will never go back.
No,
But
you
I guess
can
it was
actually
different
dump
rulings back
blood into
then.
that. Yeah.
Hmm.
It takes
Yeah,
you a long time, but it can be done.
Yeah, and
you
she had to
can
like.
heal it, but it's a lot of elder blood needed.
A
You need
lot of
power to
elder blood.
overcome it.
Oh my goodness. But so, and then, okay, so let's move on to, um, all right, we have the war councils, the Sabbat war councils. Borges, Sasha Vikos, and I still can't remember the other guy's name for some weird ass reason.
I remember Francisco de Polonia. It was
Bologna,
Caldwell.
that's him.
Hmm.
De Polonia, and yes, he's the other dude. And it was when I heard the first time I heard the phrase of, "If there's not blood on the table, then the war council didn't get anything done."
Yes.
Okay. So they argued for like 3 cities. They just kept
Hmm.
arguing. It's like, let's
Yeah,
move on. And then we start getting into my girl. I love her to death. Miss. She's a La Sombra. She's an
Miss
anti.
Lucita.
Lucita
Lucita de
Polonia.
Aragon.
Or, yes.
Oh, de Aragon.
The daughter. No, the daughter of Luis Moncada. She is epic. She is epic. She has her own war wagon. I'm just gonna call it a war wagon. With the I'm talking about the semi truck.
Hmm.
She's just
Oh.
wandering around fucking people up.
Yeah, she was like the ultimate mercenary of the world of darkness.
Oh, she is. No, she's right up there with. Hold on, I got her. Fatima Al Fadil.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
She's
No.
right up there with her, man. And she's in love with Lucita, isn't she?
Fatima, I know that they have a.
There's a lesbian relationship here.
I shall double check that, but I do not doubt it.
I think something happened in between the two of them, but I can't quite remember. And I think her name wasn't Fatima Al Fakadi.
Al Fadil? I thought, sorry.
Yeah,
Al-Fakadi.
Fatima al-Fakadi,
Fakadi, sorry. My
also
bad.
known as the Hand of
The Hand
Vengeance.
of Vengeance.
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir.
She was the part of the warrior cast of
Oh.
the case of the Assamites, I think.
She
Yep.
is. No,
She is-
she
so
was the
apparently-
first female to pass the test. She went to she actually went to the whole there are very few poisons that will actually affect a kindred, and she survived that.
Yeah, Assamites are badass.
Yeah, no, seriously. And oh, look at New Wave. Yes, as far as I know, Lucia and Fatima were in a
I can,
lesbian relationship.
I can actually confirm it. It was during the Crusades. Her and Lucita actually fought to a stalemate. Neither could overcome the other,
Fell in love.
and then fell in love. It's in VTM Children of the Night, page 80 to 81.
So there
Yes!
you
They
go. New Wave.
became friends and
Yes.
lovers.
I remember I read that.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, he's looking. Yeah, no, she's looking at the wiki now. We already beat you to it, girl. Yes,
Yeah, no.
they fell in love, and
They
I
did?
have zero issue with that at all. I think it's awesome.
Well, when the
Oh,
two best independent mercenaries are also lovers, you're just like, yes.
yes, you must read this. I'm telling you.
Children of the Night, page 80 to 81.
There you go. No,
Yeah,
she
when I
got
read
to
that
read
book
it
was
now.
when I found out that she decided to abandon her independent ways and actually became not archbishop, what was it? Cardinal.
Cardinal.
hmm
And eventually she became the lady regent of the Sabbat.
And
Yep.
Lucida, she actually kills off Luis Moncada. She actually winds up killing him.
Yeah, her sire.
She's one of the first kindred who was able to use Earth Meld and move.
Yes.
Because Earth
Um,
Meld was, great. You could just sink into the ground. Sunlight couldn't get you. No, but that fight, she drops into the ground, and Luis Moncada's waiting on her ass to come back up out of the ground in that same spot, and she comes up behind his ass and hands him his head.
Well, apparently, so according to the wiki, yeah, it was the two of them fighting him, and he was attacked by his own thrall, the shadow beast from the abyss known as the Leviathan.
Mm-hmm.
His guardian was confused and attacks his own master, and then
Some
actually
great shit.
it's Fatima who ends his life with the final hit.
Yeah, she gave the coup de grace.
Yes, she did.
Thanks
And
to,
this was
I'm
wh-
guessing
this was
Lucita helping
of
fuck
the-
with his thrall.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh no! Look at New Wave. She's. I got to get me a copy of this. You damn Skippy, you do. I've been talking about this shit for 3 years. You know this. You've been here. Damn you.
It took me forever to get all fucking 13 of them. Well, 14 technically.
Fuck that. Just get the 4.
4?
I'm gonna buy the 4 mega books. Well, no,
Fall
the
of
4 mega
Atlanta.
books combine
Eye of
all 13
Gehenna.
novels in chronological order.
Oh yeah, you know
Fall of
what's my
Atlanta.
fucking problem? I
Eye
got
of
all
Gehenna.
13.
Bloody
Damn.
September and Endgame. Those are the only 4 you need.
Yeah, my
Because
thing is that
they're-
after I got all 13 of them individually, I
did
came to
too.
find out, like a month after I came to find out that they had the ones that have all of them.
I did too.
There's also one giant thick book.
Yeah,
You're
no,
shitting me.
not one giant. There are 4 giant thick books.
No, they
that-
also put it all into one giant thick
Did
book then
they?
later. Yep.
I'm not buying another set of fucking books. I'm not.
No, that's fine.
I'm just not gonna do it. I own I own the 13, and I own the 4 biggies, and they're which is all 13, set up in chronological order, which is a big deal, by the way, because a lot of the shit in the original 13 clan novels is way out of sync, and you just gotta sit. And like I said, reading Malkavian in Malkavian. So
Oh, God.
difficult. It
Yes.
is
So-
hard.
So I'd like to give a little bit of credit also to another La Sombra. Poor Tally
I know, Tally the Hound. That
being
poor
set
thing,
against
He
Lucita
can't get some help nowhere.
to protect
he had no
3
chat.
war party peoples from Lucita and each other because
that motherfucker can't get no help.
he can't. He's told keep these 3 safe from each other and my child Lucita. Oh, but you can't kill Lucita.
No, but you can't kill Lucita. No, hey, no,
She's invincible.
I love Tally.
Well,
He
his
actually
instructions
does a
also
good job at what he was trained to do. It was a good job with what he was trying to do, which was keeping any of the archbishops from getting assassinated. He did a pretty good job with that. But it wasn't, it was Lucita who fucked him over because, he how's he going to go against her? It wasn't going to, and Borges is the one who gets his head handed to him, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, she ends up killing Archbishop Borges with a little opening created by Sasha Vikos.
Yes.
Because Vikos, they are a bitch.
Sasha. That bitch ain't got no sense of humor about anybody. Okay?
Well, no, they don't. They have no sense of humor.
No, they don't. But Sasha, if you go back to the original Vampire the Masquerade book, is all those love letters from Beckett to her are just crazy. Those are just crazy, dude.
Yeah, he had a fixation.
He did.
Until eventually, I think he realized Vikos is a crazy, evil bitch. Because in Becca's Child Diary, he's not in love with her anymore.
No.
And sometimes Vikos is not a she, but a he.
And then sometimes they're a they. It's weird.
And then
Depends on the mood.
Sasha actually knows thaumaturgy, and there's one reason for that, is that Tremere fell in love with her too.
Yep.
I did not know
That's
that.
actually covered in the Widow's Weeds.
Yep. Well, Sasha was human.
Yeah.
Sasha was being courted by Tremere, who did teach them thaumaturgy. So, Sasha's a huge important character, which is why Sasha gets their own book.
All the
second
love.
book, Clan Samizi.
Yeah, no, she get all the love, or he, whatever.
It's weird. Again, like I said, Sasha is an exercise in what time period are we talking will then depend upon the pronouns, and it's just weird. Sasha's weird. Sasha keeps you on your toes.
Okay. Let's move on to Baltimore. They started after the attack on the High Gallery and the major offensive that pushed north along the eastern seaboard, we had everybody who fell back to, this is all the elders from, I want to say, not even, because Atlanta, there were no other than what is her name? Victoria. She's the only elder who survived that attack.
Yeah.
Even what's his dude? The guy who wound up with the eye wasn't actually an elder. So
Leopold.
Thank you. Leopold.
Leopold. I like
Anybody
Leopold.
who knows, What
He
is
kind
it?
of pissed me off.
Huh?
Leopold pissed me off a lot because
No. I'm talking about Bugs Bunny.
Oh yeah.
Leopold. So no, every time I hear his name, I do that. So we get everybody pushed back from Atlanta north to Baltimore. Everybody's clustered up, and you know the what's his name? Who was the prince at the time? Oh, dude, what's his name? Oh, I hate this. I do. I hate it.
So we're looking for the Prince of Help Me.
Prince of Baltimore, just after the attack on the High Gallery.
oh shit, I like that dude. He's a Ventrue, I remember.
No, he's not.
Huh?
No, he's not.
Let's see. Would that be Alexander Garlotti?
No.
No, wait, that was
Uh-uh.
him until. Sorry, Isaac Goldwyn.
No.
No,
No.
dang it, I'm not finding anything
Starts
else
with
on the
an
wiki.
M. Anyway, turns out after they were doing the whole war council thing and everybody was clustering, Theo Bell shows up. All the shit went, holy crap, we've got to be on a war footing now. And then this motherfucker turns out to be a La Sombra.
That's Vitel. That's the prince.
Vitel!
That's
Thank you!
the prince from DC.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
from
one that turned out
DC.
to be a
Because
La
he
Sombra.
backed up. We'd lost DC. We'd lost everything up the seaboard. Up until
Yeah, he was supposed to be a double agent.
Yeah,
And
Marcus
He was also
Vitale.
corresponding with Vikos.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And then we have an attack from the inside with Vitel going, he was trying to kill off all the other elders who were waiting up the seaboard, for Makata and not Makata, but Borges and Polonia and Sashavikos were willing to, they're headed up the seaboard, and then all of a sudden we got somebody behind enemy lines who's trying to kill anybody who could actually stop them.
Yeah.
And there's an attack during the whole. They're actually filling the limo up with gasoline, and there's a La Sombra, and I'm like, what? He's a La Sombra? Holy crap!
Yeah,
We're in
that
big
caught me off
trouble.
guard too, and it was this guy Theo Bell using Christophe Romuald's sword, the one that fucking killed him.
Yes, it was the Dragon Blade, the one that he actually took from Christoph Romuald.
Yep.
And yeah, and I'm like, what? He's on La Sombra? Oh, we are in deep shit, dude. We're in deep doo-doo. And then they
Man,
wind
I'm
up,
into this shit.
huh?
I was just saying that I like that they put Christophe Romuald from the video game into
I know, that was
the
one
clan
of the
novels.
secondaries that I love. Because
And he's
I'll be
still
honest,
around. I love that.
Requiem is one of my I love playing that more than I love Bloodlines, and I
Mhm.
know people are gonna get mad at me about that, and I don't give a shit. But I'm telling you, it was a better story. You guys did great with making an MMO in Bloodlines, but you weren't. It wasn't marketed as an MMO. It was.
Right.
Well, it really wasn't an MMO since you couldn't play with other people, but
I know, but that was the way it was designed.
in a way.
And I'm like, okay, never mind. So let's fuck off and do this. But I'm hoping they do better with Bloodlines 2. I really do. I truly do. I hope
I
they
just
keep
hope
this
the
better.
characters are more customizable because just grabbing a pre-made, pre-looked character ain't my thing too much.
Now, dude,
Supposedly
there
it's
are,
going to be.
in Steam, if you get it in Steam, you can actually get a much better customization of your starting character than you would if you bought it from whoever actually fucking released it. Who released it originally, ladies and gentlemen? I'm asking
Fuck
this in
me.
the peanut gallery, and if the guests can figure it out, that'd be great.
Oh,
Um,
God damn it, and it's installed in my computer. Let me check.
wasn't it Activision?
was it Activision?
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Activision
You
who
Activision.
know
originally
that
released it.
company hasn't existed for how long?
Yeah, but they still they still fought for the copyright and crap, which is why Bloodlines 2 is only now happening since the
Which is
copyright finally
yeah,
lapsed.
and they can just fuck off and die. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
No, I think anyway. Back on track
Back
because
no,
we
this
can
is
do it
Oh,
all.
part of
right.
track, dude.
Oh, that's true.
Because
That's true.
listen, there are characters in Bloodlines who are also part of the canon of the Clan Wars. Beckett being
Beckett.
one of them. Okay, there are a couple of others like okay, granted the Malkavian sisters, they aren't part of it, but there are a couple of other ones that are, and I like that. I do. I like
Hmm.
whenever my video game characters become canon,
And vice versa. Like, and
and vice
your canon
versa.
characters end up in the games.
Exactly. So let's move on. We've got Baltimore. These people have realized at this point that holy crap, we've got people behind them in enemy lines. How the fuck did that happen? You know, it's like, there's La Sombra as a prince, as a freaking cam prince of all things. Okay,
And of a major city too.
of a major city, and now we have to deal with. So, how many other ones do we have behind enemy lines?
The paranoia grows.
Yes, and Theo said that's not our problem. Our problem is dealing with the attack in front of us, not the one behind.
Yeah, it was John Peterson, the one that started with that.
Jan,
We have a name for it, right?
Jan. What the hell is a Jan Picker Zoom?
He's the venture that hardest at the Elder sent.
Yeah, I know. No. I'm just saying.
Oh.
That. It was during one of the Sabbat War Councils. A dude asked him, "What the hell is a Jan Pecker Zoom?"
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "Telling you, you will actually." What did he say? The response to that was, "You will test him at your own peril," because he is the child of Hartstadt the Elder. Okay, and listen, that's just him being the child of an elder is a bad situation.
And a child of a member of the inner circle at
Of the
that.
IC, yes, sir.
Also, Hardstadt the Elder is secretly Hardstadt the Younger, but we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. That's something. That's an entirely different show. We've covered it on more than one occasion, but that's not beside the. That's beside the point. Is that I'm okay? So now we have all of these elders clustered up in this one city, and going, what do we do now? And they're going, all right, well, we need, and Theo's like, well, because he didn't talk a lot. He was like, we need to see where they're going to hit next. And as soon as they hit, we go behind them, which is what happened in New York. Is they went to Buffalo to supposedly, or no, they went to Baltimore to get all these elders in one place and kill them all off. And then all of a sudden, there are 80 elders in Baltimore. Where are they?
Mhm.
They're in New York. And then, Aisling Sturbridge, my girl, love her to death.
Yeah.
And
Best
C5B,
Tremere.
yeah, is it my girl from C5B? Gotta represent. and so it's like, holy shit, we've got the Nosferatu with Calibros. We've got Aisling Sturbridge for C5B. We have all these people. They had no idea we're behind their lines.
Yep.
And then they went to Baltimore. Nobody was there. Nobody. It's like, where did they all go? Holy shit! New York is gone?
Yeah, that was a whole fucking mess. Like, they were just being pushed forth, like just pushed towards the north, and they did not expect anything. That's why they ended up deciding to take over New York.
They did. No, it was the only time I had ever actually seen the Cam use shovel heads is in Baltimore.
No,
Mhm.
it was actually in Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they decided to pretty much have like a skeleton crew,
Mm-hmm.
they took Prince Ladislas from there and just took him.
Ladislaus, yes.
Yeah, they were just gathering
The
everybody in a safe
Gangrel
place.
Prince. I loved him. He was awesome.
Wait, who?
Ladislaus, the Gangrel Prince of Baltimore or Buffalo.
No, he was Bruja.
Bruges? Really?
Yeah, yeah,
I could have sworn he was Gangrel, but all right, go man, go man.
yeah. No, they didn't have any gangrel in power back then. It was kind of a piece of.
Well, no, it was just after that the Javier said, fuck all y'all, I'm gone, peace out.
Yeah, it was after like all of like the whole gangrel troop got completely fucked over in
Oh
upstate New
yeah,
York by Leopold.
we should rewind, shouldn't we, dude?
Oh yeah, we jumped all that.
Yeah, we should rewind. Okay, so we've got what's her name? Ramona Tennerchild.
Uh-huh.
We've got Javier. We've got all these people who found out that there was some nasty thing in upstate New York that they needed to deal with. And then he grabs everybody from that section of the country, including southern Canada,
Hmm.
to go deal with this thing that is infringing upon their territory.
Right.
And then so they run, speaker, what's his name, I love him, Stalker in the Woods, that's him.
Yes, he was my favorite.
Yeah, I know, Stalker was awesome. And then Ramona Tennerchild and Javier and all the other gangrel were like, we need to deal with this motherfucker, let's do it. And then they got their ass handed to them.
It was so.
And
It made me
most of
sad.
them were part of a sculpture. They got
I think
turned
all of
into-
them.
They get turned into a sculpture, for God's sakes. Which
Yeah.
is the same sculpture, mind you, that the Malkavian.
Anatoly.
Anatole.
Or
Anatole.
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 Prophet of Gehenna.
Yes.
He actually impaled himself.
He made himself a part of
Part
the
of the
statue as
sculpture.
well.
Yes. And
Yeah, because the statue was not just stone, but also vicissitude,
Well,
flesh and
vicissitude.
bones.
Yeah, it was
and
flesh
then
and blood.
Hesher shows up looking for the eye and finds all this horrible shit, dude. Even for a Setite. Even for a Setite.
Yeah,
this
he thought it
was
was a little bit too. No,
horrible.
actually, when Hesha and all the other guys were in there,
Thompson?
yes, Thompson and the other girl, when they were in that cave, they could not see the statue. They would just see the rock, and the
No.
girl whose name I don't remember would just got a flash of all the
What's her
corpses and all
name?
that.
Yeah, I forget who she is. The art reclamationist lady.
Let me see. I'll find it here. I know her name is all over the book.
She is, yeah. She's, and I felt she got the really rawest deal of the whole fucking clan war shit.
Elizabeth Dimitros.
Elizabeth, yes. She just got the dickest thing.
Well, she did
Especially-
betray him.
Well, no, she didn't try to betray him. She was just going upon human, humanitarianism, or what is humanity? Humanity. Thank you. and it was like he was like, oh no, we can't have humanity. Nope. So he turns her and sticks her out in a window to wait for sunrise.
And then that piece of shit, Khalil Ravana.
Yeah, I know. Oh, fuck him. Khalil, I love him, but he's not my favorite dude ever. Just
He pisses me off so much.
Not my favorite dude ever. And he's one of the few of the Ravnos that survived.
The Week of
Awakening,
Nightmares.
Yeah. And so now we have a situation where, that was where Thompson actually gave up his life to save Elizabeth.
Yep.
And it pissed him off. It did. It made him angry. And I'm like, dude, you've lost your humanity. I'm like, you must be at humanity 1 at this point. If you're going to be a dick like that, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, he had low humanity because he was an elder. Like, he had several centuries.
Prophet of Typhon, of course. And, because of the whole Prophet of Typhon thing, you really got to understand that not many of these people, or kindred even, are going to accept you unless you can prove that you're trying to help them. And
Right.
most of these people, and I use the word people loosely here, thank you very much, is that even kindred are not going to do this to somebody. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what elder, how many generations you are. Doesn't matter. If you're going to be this big of a dick, we don't want to deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
Hence the reason why most folks don't want to deal with Sedites.
I think it's because Hesha doesn't have. I haven't. I know I've seen it in a book somewhere, but he doesn't follow the path of humanity. He has a completely different path.
No, he's
That's why he's
the path of Typhon.
Typhon. Yeah, you just said
Yeah.
it. Fuck me.
Yeah, he's the path of Typhon. No, he's going about his way to try and resurrect Set.
Yes.
And whatever that requires, whether it is taking the Eye of Hazamel, because can you imagine what Set would do with that kind of power?
Mm.
Because even after the destruction of Zaratha, whatever, the one that
What?
was destroyed prior to the awakening, the one that the technocracy had to kill everybody.
Zapathasora.
Zapathasora, thank you. Is that even after that, his eye survives. If you could hand that eye off to Set, can you imagine that horrible nastiness?
Fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck that.
The Eye of Hazimel. I just remembered.
Yeah, it's the Eye of Hazamel.
But isn't that supposed to be like from the Ravnos?
He is. That was
Antediluvian?
Hazamel was supposedly the Ravnos Antediluvian, but it turns out it was Zapathasura.
Oh.
Yes. And now he has the eye wrapped up in the mud of the Nile, because that's the only way to actually damp it back down. Now we have Zapathasura is gone because of the technocracy and the other folks that actually joined forces to destroy him. But that doesn't mean the eye was destroyed.
Right. Actually, the eye cannot be destroyed.
No, it
Yeah.
can't, unless it was in the eye of Zapathasura at the time.
Right.
Yeah, and there's contention on exactly who the eye belongs to, because the canon, like World of Darkness, is often unclear.
Yeah, oh no,
Yay.
you're right, New Wave. Oh, girl. Yeah, no, I've been thinking about this shit first since I found out that Gehenna was still going on, even though Zapathasura was gone. The Eye of Hazamel is still floating around. Holy crap!
Oh shit!
I can confirm where it ends up, actually.
Yeah, I
do
don't
too.
remember who
No,
ended up
Hesha.
with it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then Beckett steals it from him.
Does he?
And then Beckett gives it back to Hazamel the Methuselah.
Is it in his diary?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Beckett puts it back
don't have no
into.
business with that damn thing either.
Yeah, no, he steals it and puts it back in Hazamel the Methuselah, the childer of Zapathasura. He puts it back in his head
Oh, Jesus.
to awaken him from
option.
torpor.
Not a good option, dude.
Of
It
course, fucking
wasn't.
Beckett would do that.
Beckett was caught between a hard place and a harder place.
I don't give a shit whether he's an archaeologist or not. That's fucking stupid.
Beckett does stupid things.
You'd think, right? But
But,
no,
yeah.
I mean, look, even Hesha actually had a good option for that particular artifact. Is leaving it, encased in Nile mud, any holy river, mind you. That's what we were told in the clan novels, was that any holy mud, from any holy river, was able to damp the power of that particular artifact.
Mm-hmm.
But you can imagine, as handing that off to a Methuselah even is not a good option.
Mm-mm.
I don't give a shit who you are. I love
Well, no
you,
one should
Beckett,
have
but
it.
you're not helping.
Well,
I
no one
love
should
you,
have had
Beckett,
it.
dude, but you're not helping.
The eye is a power no one should have. It
No,
should have been
exactly.
destroyed, but it couldn't be.
Oh my God. What
But-
is wrong with these people?
Silly things.
I know. And I wonder, and I think that's part of the whole love I have for this system, is that these guys just sometimes don't think before they do stupid shit. But as soon as they do stupid shit, it gives us something else to write a story about.
Exactly.
I mean, basically, it's that much more fun. And I do want to do something with the Eye of Hazamel at some point, because as devastatingly powerful as it is, I think it's one of those that you can write a story around where you can actually do something without destroying the entire world of darkness.
I guess it's one of the things that you can use for Gehenna.
Well, and as a Gehenna is still an ongoing thing, ladies and gentlemen, let's do it. Oh, hang on. Can we have that be a fan-made Gehenna plot? I personally think Set getting the Eye of Hazamel would be an awesome alternate ending for Gehenna.
Oh shit!
Probably.
Oh,
You
fuck.
would. You would, New Wave.
Oh, you would, New Wave. Oh, yeah, she loves just fucking shit up for fucking shit up.
New Wave loves her Setites. It
I
is truly
know.
her clan.
She does. She does.
Okay.
And I have no problem with that. I really
Here's
don't. As the producer for our show, she is just way too much fun. She has a lot of good questions, and she definitely has a lot of good comments.
A slight alternate to that is while the Setites are trying to deliver the eye to their god Set, Salat and Tremere's body attempts to intercept it to gain a fourth eye.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, why?
Oh,
Why would anyone
Jesus.
even bring that up?
Jesus. Come on, y'all. No, you're not helping.
I'm not trying to help.
You're not helping, but I love it.
I want a fourth eye, says Salat, and I'll take Hazamel's.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
In the clan war between Setites and Tremere / Salubri,
So
just
here's
boom.
what I'm challenging the folks in the channel to do, and I'm talking about both channels. The live channel, going with and I'm talking about the one going on your voice. Come on, you want to do something? Send that shit off to Storyteller Vault. I'll play it. No,
Oh, man, I mean-
roll an eye of set, or I'll roll a fucking set eye just to play that.
I,
Yes,
I I know I can write the whole plot. I can write the whole fucking thing, but I have no bloody clue how to edit that into a book. Actually, I put it there on my comment. But yeah, I totally would do that. But I'm editing impaired.
I'd edit it for you.
I would, or he can. I'm not as good as an editor. I'm a better writer, and I need help with some of the shit I've been trying to do. But
Yeah, if anyone wants to know the fate of the Eye Hazamel, the chapter is called The Eye Opens in Beckett's Jihad Diary.
Oh, okay, yeah, there you go.
Oh,
look
I have
at
to
her.
get that
She
goddamn
said, "Do
book."
it, do it."
Do it! No, shut up, you
Oh, man,
love it.
I
Yes.
would-
You tell her, girl. Oh hell yeah, do it.
It's
I
gonna
play
be
that
so
shit.
convoluted that a JRPG would have nothing on it.
No, right? No.
I mean, that's World of
no.
Darkness for you, really. It's so convoluted, JRPGs have nothing on it.
Nothing on it.
Oh yeah.
Nothing on it, man.
80 hours of
Oh,
play
dude, that
time?
shit.
Bah.
Okay, so we've covered the Eye of Hazamel pretty thoroughly here. So what we're gonna do now is move on to the attack on New York. Once we actually got the Sabbat war parties, quote unquote, out of the way, we have the attack on New York. We have that they would be trying to garrison the city after they took it from starts with an M.
Shit.
You know who I'm talking about, yo? He's a Ventru. Or no,
damn it.
maybe a she actually. No, it was a she.
List of princes.
Michaela.
Michaela. Ah, yeah. I had the letter right.
It was really bothering me.
It was bothering the shit out of me. And then Michaela was assassinated during the first attack.
Yeah, she kind of just was
By
killed
an
behind the
Assamite,
scenes.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
I mean, Michaela was kind of useless anyway.
She was not a bad prince, but she wasn't a great prince.
No, and then Calibros took over as pro tempora.
No, we're not there yet.
Okay.
There was an actual hiatus between Michaela and the next prince, which was Calibros. You're correct on that. But it was the Borgias, I guess, was it de Polonia, who was the Archbishop of New York.
That was Polonia. Polonia was Archbishop of New York, and then after Moncada was killed, he was bumped to Cardinal of the United States.
Yes. And then we wound up having, the everybody went to attack Baltimore, and nobody
Hmm.
was in Baltimore. It's like I'm knocking
Yeah.
on the door, but nobody's home.
Yeah, so they pretty much abandoned Baltimore in order to take
To
over New
take
York.
New York,
And they did
correct.
this whole like undercover operation. They just took everybody, all the Bruja, Bell, all the fucking elders, and they just sent them over to New York to
Exactly.
take it from the Sabbat.
Exactly. And then we wound up having the situation that we had, which was all right, so now we control New York. Who wants to be prince? And they offered the job to our bitch in
Victoria.
Victoria, and then she actually read the article and then counted the number of paragraphs. She was one of those weird OCD people, you know? It was like, oh
It was
yeah,
like
she felt like she didn't want to be controlled by the jihad, and
no, she had this thing like she wanted to make her own fate, her own destiny. So what she was doing was she would get it's like her way of tossing a coin or rolling the dice.
exactly, and it was because she felt she didn't want to be controlled by the Methuselahs and the elders under the jihad, and she knew about
Exactly.
the jihad. She just didn't want to be controlled by it, so she flipped a coin, relatively speaking, and by counting the paragraphs. And as soon as she realized that there were an odd number of paragraphs instead of an even number, she told him, fuck you, I don't want it. And the
Hmm.
next dude in line was Calibros. And he's like, I don't want the job.
But it was Cock Robin, the Justicar, that decided to pretty much volunteer Calibros to be the prince.
Yeah, and he said, I don't want the job. I have better things to do with my time.
I
And
mean, he's not wrong.
yeah, no shit, right? I got better shit to do with my time. And he's even telling his Justicar that. He's like, I don't have time for your bullshit. Okay? Seriously, dude.
There are bigger threats coming.
I got better things to do with my fucking time. And he's like, you're going to take the job, and you don't have a choice in the matter. It's like,
You're gonna take the job and
oh.
you're gonna like it.
Yeah, you're going
Yep.
to take it, and you're going to fucking like it. You're like, really?
Like,
Fine.
and
He
most of
takes it
the
for 3 years and then quits.
Oh, yeah, no, he did. He was one of the few princes I have ever heard of that said, fuck you. I don't want the job. I'm not doing it anymore. Bugger off. And that's what happened.
Yep.
Who's the new prince of New York now?
Helen Panhard. She is the child of Michaela.
Michaela. Okay, so
Yes.
she's a
Michaela's
Ventrue.
childer. Yep.
Okay.
Ventrue of the 8th generation, and she was a harpy before becoming prince.
Okay, and she probably got really pissed off when they handed off the job to Calibros.
Mm-hmm.
But Venture are like that. They can just take offense at nobody's. They're worse at that than the fucking Toreadors. They take offense over shit that just really shouldn't be offended by.
Well, I mean, it seems interesting because apparently, according to her wiki, she believed it should have been hers to begin with after her sire's death.
Of course, but
Uh,
it's the
Yeah, they think
strength.
it's hereditary title, like
They do.
It's
nobility.
not a hereditary title. It's strength of being able to hold a city.
But apparently, she's not bad at holding it because apparently her main selling point is since she's become prince since 2001, New York's been stable. She's brought stability to New
Any
York.
Anarch or Sabbat incidences or
Oh
what?
shit.
According to what I'm reading, more or less, since New York's always been that really contentious, like half of it belongs to the Sabbat and
Mhm.
half of it belongs to the Cam, She more or less just erected a fortress around Wall Street and is like, what you do is you settle shit in your domain and you come to me if it spills between your barriers. That's what a prince does.
That's right.
So she
Yeah.
That's
allows the
right.
so she allows her kindred subjects to regulate their domains as they see fit, and only moves in should it spill between the lines or break one of the, traditions.
I mean, basically, I have never been a prince. Archon has been more my thing, but I understand what the concept of how to be a prince is more important than most of these little dickheads, eighth, ninth, and 10th generation people, kindred understand.
Hmm.
They don't understand how much effort it takes to maintain a princedom. And you fuck up, you don't want an archon showing up in your territory, dude. You just don't.
Ooh, that means you're in trouble as prince.
Oh no
Means you
shit.
fucked up.
No, you fucked up, and I will end you. I will end you, and I will put your harpy in your position, and let's see how that works out. And if that doesn't work out, we'll come back again. But you don't want us coming back again,
Mm-mm.
especially if you watch how that kind of transition of power comes about. You don't
It's
want the Archon coming back. You
no.
do not want the Archon.
You know you're a good prince when the Archons, Justicars, and Inner Circle don't fucking
Don't
talk to
even
you.
care about you.
They don't care
You
about
aren't
you.
even
You're
in
doing a
our
good job.
goddamn radar.
Who's Prince of New York? This person, sir. I haven't heard of him. No.
Nope.
Good. Goes back to business.
I got better things to do with my time. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Bye.
I'm immortal. I have long plans to deal with. I don't need to deal with Baltimore or Buffalo or Vienna. Fuck that noise.
Fuck Vienna.
Oh
I
man,
don't
fuck
even want
Vienna.
to go back to Vienna. I don't even want to go back to Vienna. I'm, listen, that's where the mother house was, and I don't want to be there again ever.
That's
Especially
fair.
since shit went sideways, the way it went sideways. Not even interested. I don't ever want to be in fucking Mexico City either.
Mm-mm. I don't want. You don't want to be
I
in
like
London
Mexico
either.
City.
London's
Oh
now
no, fuck
completely
London.
clear too.
London's not a bad city.
No,
Actually,
it's not. Well, it has no kindred in it anymore. So yeah, it's gotten a lot better.
yeah, it has, right?
Oh man, that's
Let's
sad.
just
When you
piss
know that
off. We're gonna
Kindred's
find out
gone,
something
everything's
different.
better.
So okay, so where were we at? We moved into New York at this point.
Yeah, I think we're technically in bloody September now.
Yeah, we are.
So between August and September of 1999.
And now we
What?
have all of the kindred in every domain have under they see the wormwood. They've seen the other lead up to Gehenna. They're scared the absolute living shit out of them. And it's like, okay, what do we do now? And you need to listen to what your elders are telling you. Shh. How dare you? Don't even. Gehenna doesn't happen. Shh. There is no such thing as Gehenna. Shh.
What about this Eye of Hazamel thing that we've all recently
Fuck all
discovered?
that.
Shut up!
There ain't no such damn thing. Shh. Shut the fuck up. That kind of thing. And it's like, so we're holding everything together by, how should I put it? We're just, holding shit together with rumors and edicts. Edicts. That's the term I was looking for. So, yeah, you people need to shut your hole. Ain't nobody. No, Gehenna's not happening. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Basically, so, so, but still, there are those who are, especially among the Tremere, and oddly enough, the Los Sombra, who really understand what's going on now. They're like, oh crap, what do we do? We can't even listen to the words of our elders because they're telling us one thing, we're seeing something else, and holy shit.
See now, in the whole clan noble uh, collection, there were only two of them that really confused me. One of them I expected it, but the other one kind of caught me off guard. One of them was the Tremere. That's the one
Oh,
I thought it was
Aisling?
going to be like, yeah. I read that it's
Aisling
pronounced
Sturbridge.
Ashley.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love her.
I
But
do
yeah, the
too.
whole thing, I thought it was going to be a little bit more to the point, but it had like all this mystical crap that I'm not really familiar with because I've never been really into the Tremere. And the other one, obviously, was the Malkavian,
Yeah, Anatole, man.
and at all.
You know, when he had actually, um, a lot of folks who haven't read the books but need to read them, is that this was the one that was written in Malkavian. But what we understand of what he was trying to do, and this is how we found out that apparently dimentation allowed you to stay out in the sunlight. But what I he knew he knew something was coming, so
Hmm.
he had actually chartered the Concorde
Yes.
for 3 separate trips with nobody else on board.
Yup.
That shit scared the hell out of me. I'm like, oh, damn. So the prophet of Gehenna knew more about what we knew about than what's going on. Yep.
I mean, he really had all the secrets of the universe
He
in his crazy
did.
head.
But it was so hard for him to get out. That's why
Hmm.
I was saying about speaking in Malkavian. It's so hard for the rest of us to understand exactly what he was preaching.
Right.
And the ability to stay out in the sunlight just because you're crazy. And you remember the incident in the churchyard? When no, Calibros sent one of his children over to watch this motherfucker because he had heard that Amsol was back. And he said to dude, he's like, I couldn't stay. He stayed out in the sunlight. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do. Calibros is like, what? He stayed out in the
I,
sunlight?
I felt so bad for that
I
Nosferatu, but
did.
holy
I
shit.
really did. I felt bad for him. I truly did. It was like, holy crap. He's just super crazy, so I can stay out in the sunlight. And I'm like, oh, this
How
is
the fuck
bad.
did he stay in the sunlight?
This is bad. This is bad on a level we have never seen before. Bad.
Yeah, like every
Oh,
time he thought he had come to a breakthrough, like, oh shit, now I know what he's doing, he would fucking
no.
change the play.
Don't know what the fuck he's doing. He knows what he's doing, but nobody else does.
Yeah, pretty
Nobody else.
much.
Nobody else has a clue.
No one knows what a Malkavian's doing
And
except the
especially
Malkavian.
when he impaled himself on the sculpture in the cave. That was when his true madness, came to be. It was like, oh shit,
Oh man, I mourned when that happened.
I did. I was like, I love Anatole. He's a really, really good character. But it turns out he actually de-impaled himself or impaled himself after.
Yeah. I was hoping that it was like, okay, so I'm gonna do this and it's gonna look like I'm dead, just like Hesha did.
Mm.
But no, No, he was dead.
No. But then he turns around and de-impales himself and then wanders off into the distance. And nobody knows what's going on except Anatole.
Yeah.
I don't even bother asking anymore. It's just, that's Anatole. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Anatole did this. Oh,
Yeah, I'm good.
I thought so.
Must be Tuesday.
It must be Tuesday. There you go. Good answer. Must be Tuesday.
Adult did something crazy. Must be Tuesday.
Oh, seriously, dude. I love the clan novels. They had so much to offer, and
I
it gave us a whole insight into not just the characters themselves, but the interactions between
Yes.
these canon characters.
So something I did want to ask about the clan novels actually, because I feel like a lot of people when playing tabletop and maybe a bit of LARP get hung up on the rules of disciplines, but in the novel, since there's no dice rolling or anything, how are they presented? How is it like narratively? Is it just impressive when people pull out these powers? Like, give us a feel for that.
Theo Bell flips a car over to
Mm-hmm.
hide behind it when he gets, they're dumping serious amounts of ammo
Fire.
downrange on him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of thing I think about when you're talking about um, uses of clan disciplines. Theo Bell's bourgeois, so he has potence as their primary clan discipline. And being able to flip a car over doesn't seem all that out of the way to me.
Yeah, that's more like a potence, like a high level of potence,
Oh, it
because
is. It
Theo Bell was
is.
an elder, so he obviously know how to use that shit.
There are like four different things that I think of when I think about potence. I think about A, torn signpost.
Mm-hmm.
I flip a sewer lid at you. I flip a car over. And four, I throw a car at you.
Yes.
That's the things I think about when I think about potence. Now, if you go back and read the actual Tremere clan novel and or the Tremere trilogy, the Widow's Weeds, Widow's Weed, yeah,
Yeah.
is that is you actually get a really good insight as to how thaumaturgy is supposed to be used.
Exactly.
And then you look at, Malkavian, for instance, during the clan novels, the ability to project your insanity into some other kindred. And that's the whole of the when we step into a separate madness realm between Benison Hodges and Julius, the Archon, the bourgeois Archon at the time. It's like you there are all these even Victoria Ashe. I hate that bitch. I do. I hate her. But she has shown during the clan novels what presence is, how you use it to get somebody to come over to your side and see how you see things. That's what I see. Now, we didn't get a lot of other really good uses other than Elford using the vicissitude on Victoria Ashe,
Mm-hmm.
and or Sasha Vikos using the Asimite assassin and reconstructing him
Mm-hmm.
to be her flunky.
Yeah, to look completely different.
Yeah. So there are a lot of good uses for the actual clan disciplines, but
Mm-hmm.
they're oddly enough, I honestly think they could have done better. as far as
Okay.
some of these uses.
The way I see it, in this case, the elders, all the named characters in the books, it's kind of like the player characters, so to speak, but a little bit higher. They are like this sounds stupid, but it's like a hero class. So
It
they have
is. No, you're
yeah,
right.
it's certain abilities that the player characters cannot have, but it's something to aspire to. This is
Exactly.
it's the L.
You're cutting out, dude. I'm not sure what's going on, but you're cutting out. We lost him. Holy shit. We lost him. I can't do dead air. I just
Oh,
can't.
okay. Well, sounds like. I mean, from what you were saying, the way it's described, the disciplines, you see them being performed by these really powerful NPCs rather than neonates. So, but it sounds like some of them were described really well,
Yeah,
and
no,
that's
and
what I
I
was
just
wondering.
realized there was another one, like Lucita and Fatima.
Hmm.
There were some really good uses of their clan disciplines. And but it wasn't Lucita that had the best use of the
Obtenebration.
what's the shadow discipline of
Obtenebration.
tenebration. No, the best use of that was Dipolonia or Borges, since there were two La Sombra and one vicissitude characters in those scenes. Is that but it was like there was one there was one scene where he had this shadow minion who was supposed to go around behind all of the other members of the war council and tell him specifically what they were planning to do and what they could do. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a really good use for that particular discipline. It's things think shadow flay and all the other offensive uses of that of tenebration. But what you don't get is that even among the how should I put it, the um, Giovanni using specters or ghosts or wraith to tell us what tell the person what their opponent is trying to accomplish, and that you can also use the same thing, and he did as far as the obtenebration is the ability to tell you what he's doing behind your back. And that's the way that works, at least amongst Sabbat war councils. Like I said, if there isn't any blood on the table, nobody got anything done. I think I've lost everybody. What the hell?
No, I'm still here. I'm just
Okay.
listening. I'm learning,
Yeah,
and that's what
no,
I
you're
like.
still learning. I appreciate that, dude. I
It,
just think we've lost everybody else.
Key
I
Kide has, yeah, it looks like he got
Kide will
disconnected.
be back soon, I hope. Because
Um,
oh, hold up. I just noticed I've been trying to keep track of all the technical shit. Um, Masquerades. It's, no, never mind. I'm not even gonna go there because it's just too funny. But it
uh,
is. She knows what I'm doing. You know what I'm doing. You're watching the channel.
but I guess the question I'll have then, because we are almost at the 2 hour mark, and there
Hmm.
is something I wanted to ask about. The final battle with Leopold.
Oh, the final battle with Leopold. It required an actual attack between maybe four different clans, including the Tremere, of course. And there was Hesha, the followers of Set got involved because he was trying to maintain control of the eye, but he also was willing to give out magical weaponry to the Tremere, who were able to use it to chop off this situation. So here we go. What happened was, at the end of the whole the whole deal was that they finally grabbed a hold of Leopold, where they were able to bring him out into the street and say, we're attacking him from this side, and this side, so you're going to have to deal with them. And then all of a sudden there was a feather that came from the Tremere that were part of what kept the Eye of Hazimel in power, was its attachment by the optic nerve to Leopold himself. And as soon as you severed the nerve, it didn't have the same power anymore. It gave Hesha the ability to encase it into the Nile mud, which would put the eye into a dormant state. Okay? So there was a major attack just outside C5B, by the way. Chantry of Five Boroughs, thank you very much. Just so you folks who aren't familiar with the actual anachronisms, but me being a Tremere, of course, know about C5B. So we have, they actually severed the nerve between Leopold, who turned out to be, ladies and gentlemen, and most of you who haven't read the book yet, he was an anti-tribute Tremere. He was the only Tremere who survived the destruction of the anti-tribute, how should I put it? It was the, in Mexico City, the
massacre.
The massacre of Mexico City and the destruction of Goratrix. Or not the destruction, but the actual imprisonment of Goratrix into the mirror. It was when that basically it was the whole essentially the situation was, and I know this seems kind of actually narcissistic, but the end of the whole clan war was the destruction of the last anti-tribute Tremere.
Yeah, because Salat took over Tremere. Tremere jumped into Goratrix, and then Goratrix got put in a mirror.
And Goratrix went to the mirror.
So reading on the wiki, Leopold was actually the second of the last of the Tremere to tribute, because he had a sire, Nikolai.
Nikolai
who was controlling him the entire time.
Oh, okay. Now I learned something new.
Yeah. Nikolai was a Tremere to tribute who was U-87, killed the Nosferatu Justicar. Alonso Cristo. No, he was the one before Cock Robin.
Today's not my day, guys.
It's okay,
welcome back.
Dude. We're
but
good,
yeah, Nikolai,
man.
the Tremere to tribute, killed Pedrodon, the Justicar.
Yes, yep. My man.
And then used
Cock Robin's
Leopold.
Predecessor.
Cog Robin's predecessor, and then Nikolai used poor Leopold as his nuke to try and help the Sabbat take over everything without revealing himself because he was scared Salat / Tremere would come looking for
Yes,
him.
he would. And he damn Skippy would have.
Well, fortunately, your girl, along with Cock Robin and Celebros, took out Nikolai. So
Yes, they
Aisling
did.
Sturbridge took out the last Tremere into Tribute.
Yes.
House
That I
Goratrix,
did
yeah. That's what I wanted to say earlier. That I'm kind of impressed that nobody really noticed that. Not even Leopold, that he was not
He wasn't Tremere.
he was not a Toreador. He was a Goratrix Tremere.
Yes.
Yep.
He was
No one
an
realized it.
Tribute.
Well, I think it helped that he stayed out of politics because he had no rhyme or reason. He was just a lonely
didn't.
sculptor.
No,
So everyone's
what
like,
was he? 9th, 10th, 12th generation?
no
I think
one.
9.
According to the wiki, it doesn't say.
Oh,
It says his true generation was unknown, but you may have assumed to be 9th generation Toreador.
Okay. 9th. Okay.
yeah.
I got that.
Because at a certain point they thought that he was Victoria's child.
Yep.
But
He
no,
didn't know.
No. What we covered already before you left is that this was the end of the clan war. It wasn't all down to the bourgeois or the Ventru or any of those crazy bastards. It was anti-tribute, Tremere, and Tremere. It was
Yep.
we were the ones who ended this shit. And that gave us, I guess, the impetus to stay members of the Camarilla even after the Assamites joined. After we had already laid the blood curse on our ass, they didn't have nothing to say about this. Nothing. Because we were still that powerful. And now we have 3 different houses.
Technically 4.
Yeah, 4. Okay, technically 4. Thank you. Fine. Fuck out of here. Okay.
Sorry, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. You have the Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin houses now.
Fuck off. No, so now we're in a very serious position of power. Okay, even those of us who are still the triad of Tremere, I guess, which is what I'd like to call it, is that we still hold a lot of power, and we still hold silly amounts of power amongst the Camarilla. And so now there's like one class of Tremere that are still into tribute, but they're dickall. I don't give a shit. Y'all can just fuck off.
Yeah, there's not a lot written about House Goratrix, but apparently it's still around and kicking somehow.
Oh,
Well,
Newwave is all bent out of shape about your comment about fucking Harry Potter.
Again, you have House Tremere, who are the loyalists and still a pillar of the Camarilla.
Mm-hmm.
You have House Karna, that are the rebels that are independent.
Mm-hmm.
You have House
Goratrix.
Goratrix, and then you have another house that's specifically Anarch that isn't any of the 3, but it's like House Ellipsidus or something. It's really weird. It's a weird pronunciation, but yeah, they're a small house in the Anarchs.
I think one of them were like more like the hippie type of mages, like the wizards of the woods and druids and that kind of like nature magic.
Mm-hmm.
What I understand. And I think House Goratrix was more like what it's normally known as the blood magic, like the thing that where they are not really, they don't have no compunction about taking other people's lives or using what we call unethical methods for their magic. And then there's the House Tremere.
Yeah, but even
Harry Potter.
so, I'm still gonna get a tattoo with all 3 of the symbols. I'm even gonna get a tattoo of the show, the one that Cécile Ivanoff did for us for the show. But I just wanted you guys to know that this is part of my life now. It really is. This is what I
Hmm.
want you guys to understand is that this is something that is very important to me. I want a new wave understands this.
Hmm. No, I agree
Choose.
with you. I agree with you. I'm in
I'm
the same train,
I'm
boat,
I'm
whatever.
this is how many people now have tattoos of any World of Darkness clan
Right
house.
here.
um no, I think even what is it, Eric's got a fucking trying to remember the name of the house. But then even then we've got all these other members of the show who've had Bali. He's got a Bali tattoo. That's the one. That's the one I was trying to remember.
And I have a tattoo of Clan Gangrel on my arm. I got it
Gangrel,
like
good
6 years
man,
ago.
good man. Oh, I love the Gangrel. I do. But I'm just trying to, spread the love. I want all the folks who, oh yeah, look at New Wave. She wants me to do it.
I say do it.
She
I mean,
wants me
show
to
your
do
love.
it.
Show your house.
I show your fucking house, dude, and not just your house. I'm gonna show my show. Okay.
I'm actually planning on getting a sleeve, well, kind of a sleeve because it's more like a half sleeve, something like a Yakuza type of tattoo, like
Mm-hmm.
that covers my shoulder, some of my back, and my upper arm with all 13 clans and bloodlines.
Oh, good man. No, good man, dude. I have all the love. Oh yeah. That's a lot of ink though, dude.
It's gonna be expensive, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, the girl local is the cousin of a very close friend of mine. So she's already quoted me as a $40 for the new Tremere clan tattoo.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's only black and white. I mean, how much can that cost, really?
My Gangrel tattoo was $100 in Michigan,
Oh, really? Damn.
and
Depends on
it's
your connections and who you go to, huh?
I had not a single one. I was fresh off the airplane in this country.
Yeah, no, no. I listen. Daniel's cousin will not charge me more than that. As soon as I walked in and showed her the picture on the phone, she's still like $80, and I'm like, Daniel. And she was like, Daniel who? I said, Daniel Showman. She's like, all right, 40. She cut me. She cut me half price, just on a name.
That's fucking great, man.
I know.
That's that's some back deal like vampire shit there. You name a name,
Yes,
prices
sir, bud.
change.
I know, dude. Nah, dude. I know all the back channel shit.
Yawn. Yawn what? Yawn Petersoon. What the hell's a yawn
Yeah, what
Peckerzoon?
the hell's a yawn pecker zoom?
Oh yeah.
No, it's right up there. That's one of my favorite quotes out of the entire clan novel. That is my favorite quote. What the hell's a yawn pecker
I had forgotten all about it. I'm gonna have to read all 13 of them. Thank you very much.
zoom? Yeah, fuck you. Do it. No, fuck you, dude. Do it. You better. Okay. 'Cause
Man, I
we're
brought them
gonna
all
have
with me
another
today
show.
so I can find stuff.
I know. Oh, I love my game. I love
Hmm.
my game. And a lot of folks would just write us off. If we're nerds, we don't have no say in the general zeitgeist. I got news, dude. You don't know what the fuck you're smoking.
We're going mainstream, baby.
We,
V5, we're
we have
going
already
mainstream.
gone mainstream,
Ah,
baby. And
I don't want to talk about P5.
I know. We'll get to that. We will. I promise.
Now, the thing is that even though I'm not going to use, well, more than likely any of the rules from V5, I am going to use a lot of the story that they're using because I think it's mostly fascinating. It's filling all the blanks that I didn't have because I stopped reading after the, well, not right after, but like a little after the War of New York and all that. I kind of stayed behind because my players always wanted to play that era, like the early 2000s and
Right?
whatnot,
Right
because it was
up to
like
the
the golden
lead up to
age.
Gehenna.
Yeah.
So, okay, New Wave's got us our last question of the evening. Important questions. What's everybody's opinion on the two trilogy novels for La Sombra and Tremere? Are they worth getting, reading, and also where can I get copies? Well, I'm going to tell you where right up front, best place to get copies are Amazon.
Yes.
The La Sombra,
Amazon or the
the Tremere
drive-through RPG
or drive through
Yeah.
bookstore.
RPG. That's also another option if you're willing to just do the tablet reading thing. The Tremere, Widow's Walk, Widow's Weeds, Widow's Wake. Yeah, go for it. It's all Tremere all the time. And it was where I found out that Tremere and Sasha Vikos found out that they loved each other, and we learned about where Sasha Vikos found out about thaumaturgy. Now, I have not read the Sombra one. Have you guys?
I have not.
I have not, however, looking into it, it looks to be a collection of stories that are very much about Lucita. So if you like Lucita and want to learn more about her history,
Oh
specifically
hell,
her
I'm so down.
interactions
Oh,
with
no,
the
no.
La Sombra antediluvian, that's where you go.
No, soon as New Wave found out about there was a lesbian relationship with Lucita and Fatima, she's all about that shit, dude.
So that might be in the trilogy. I don't know, but I do know
No,
that.
it is. It is.
Then yeah, you want to get the La Sombra trilogy because it is all Lucida, all 3 books.
All the time. Yeah.
And I
And
don't know
there
if you
is.
guys know. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Oh,
man.
I was
No,
gonna say the
dude.
last. Oh, the last thing
Ask
I was
your
gonna say is
question.
also La Sombra antediluvians in the books. If you want to learn more
Oh
about
shit.
that thing.
That thing.
There's no better way to describe it.
True
We'll
that.
define
True
it.
that. No, true that. But no, New Wave being our producer, I always love sending her some new shit. No, come on, y'all. You gotta love sending new shit to new members or even old members of our community. You know, right?
Right.
No, seriously, dude, right?
No,
Right.
there's no better feeling than being like, here, let me indoctrinate. I mean,
Yes.
help you learn about this new role playing game.
Yes.
Dude, on that note, this Sunday I'm hoping I'm about to introduce another person to the beautiful world that is Vampire the Masquerade.
Oh, are you?
Yes, I'm so
So you
fucking
have a
pumped
new
about it.
indoctrinate. Somebody who will
Yes, one
listen
of
to the
us.
show.
I'm hoping they will. I'm hoping they
Oh,
will.
please do.
Meanwhile, I'm trying to indoctrinate up to 2 new people into Chronicles of
Please?
Darkness.
Ew.
Please?
Don't ew my game. I will defend the God Machine and Chronicles of
Fuck you in
Darkness.
the God box.
The God box trumps your technocracy.
Yeah,
So
fuck them. I'm
That's OP.
lovely
That never
I
happened.
can actually mention the technocracy on my show now without them fucking shutting me down.
You know what's fucking funny? You mentioned the technocracy, and my computer froze and crashed for the first time since I bought it. Since I got it.
Oh, see?
you went and you made a wizard mad. That's on you.
Ah, shit.
You pissed off a techno mage. You should go apologize.
What the hell?
No.
Be like, magic isn't real. It's all science. I understand. Give me back my internet.
Oh, jeez.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna say, since New Wave has this thing for Lucita, I don't know if you know, but there are action figures, really fucking old action figures. There's only 3 for Vampire the Masquerade. One of them is Beckett, the other one is Theo Bell, and last but
And
not
the other
least is
one's
Lucita.
Of
And I have all
course.
3 of them.
I've actually seen it. It's fucking crazy. I'm like, how did they pick those 3?
The 3, like my 3 favorite from the whole
I
fucking
know.
universe.
And I love me some Theo, yo. I do.
Yeah.
I love me some Theo Bell. But
He's my favorite
I love Lucita even better.
You know, if they had used characters like Beckett, Theo Bell, and Lucita for their soap opera, it would have done a lot better.
It would have.
Yes.
It would have.
Beckett is the
No,
3rd best
dude,
gangrel in the
You
world.
know what made me the most angry? Is naming Dude Sire Archon as his proper name.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
Mm-hmm. I own it. I own it, man. Vampire the
No.
Masquerade. I shit you not. Vampire the Embraced. My bad.
Yeah, Vampire the Embraced, and they named his... Yeah, Archon
Dude,
was his
name was
first
Archon.
name.
And I'm
Oh,
like, holy
you're right.
shit. How
Kindred the
dare
Embraced.
you?
Kindred the Embraced, yeah.
This is not a proper name. This is a job.
I mean, it was different times. It was the early 90s. Vampire was really young.
Well, also apparently
No,
it
but
was
still.
done by a production company who wouldn't listen to the original
No,
White
they
Wolf
didn't.
guys.
No, they
Huh?
didn't. And they refused to do so. When somebody from White Wolf, when they were still in Atlanta, said, hey, this is not okay. This is not okay. Let's do this. You know, and the other thing was, I have been bitched at after, showing in the first episode that a Bedtrue prince had earth meld. And I'm like, no.
I mean, it's possible.
Yes, it is possible to have an air clan discipline. But damn it, dude.
Yeah.
I honestly can't think of a single gangrel, a self-respecting gangrel that would just give protein to a Ventru.
Oh, no. I never
shit.
said they gave it willingly.
Oh yeah, there's that.
Oh, yeah, even New Wave has issues.
Yeah, no, the Aaron Spellings productions can... I mean, they're dead for a reason, so we're all happy. And Vampire lives on, as it rightfully should.
Yes, it should. And as we are fond of saying, we love y'all. We want y'all to come back. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the end of our show for tonight.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry that our co-host couldn't stay here longer. He's having some issues. He really is. And I love him to death. So we'll always, think good thoughts. Okay? So
Indeed.
we're going to be doing this after the show. For the folks that are in the actual Google Hangout session, stay after the show. I need to talk to y'all, okay? All right.
Okay.
I love y'all. New Wave, thanks for showing up. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night. Everybody say good night.
Night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.